morning. How we doing on Monday? You ready to go? Come on, showtime. Here's what we know. You define your day. You define your week. Okay? You define your life, your business, your heart, your mind. You and I are the ones who step in and define it. So let's make sure this week we don't let somebody else define it for you. Anybody ever do that? Anybody? You tracking with me? Okay. We don't let somebody else define it for you. People will try. Okay. Circumstances will happen. You and I get the choice. Okay. So let's make sure that you and I define it. Let's start off this morning as we go. Tell me something good or tell me something you're grateful for. Let's go. Who wants to kick us off? Tell me something good or tell me something you're grateful for. A win you had. Let's go. Come on. There's like 100 of you. Somebody had something good. Come on now.
Okay, Dusty. My wife and I had a great weekend. We went down and saw my son in Auburn and really enjoyed it. Back home Sunday. And so good weekend.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. Auburn's one of the most beautiful campuses I've ever been on, Michael. Beautiful. What a great place to go. Awesome. Somebody else. David Fine. Let's go, D Fine.
I got defined in person with Dusty and Janet last week. And as much as I love these Monday sessions, there's nothing like seeing Dusty in person. And it got me motivated. It got me pumped. I came back home and sold one of my listings. It's been on the market for, good gosh, 200 days. And I got both sides of the deal. I got 2 new listings. And thank you, Dusty, for pumping me up. And the rest of you guys, if you ever get to see our Dusty in person, you got to go do it.
Come on. D5 showed up big this week. Y'all give it up for him. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, if you're in the real estate industry, we know the game changed. Okay. We got to be motivated. We got to be ready. We got to go. I will second that, D5. It was so awesome to be back in Virginia. We had a room full of people, man. We dove in, we dove deep, we dug in deep. We changed hearts, minds, lives, businesses. It was epically cool. The last time I was there in that same room, Define, the whole world stopped. Right? Last time I was there, literally 2 weeks later, the pandemic hit. So we're off. We're doing well, Define. I'm proud of you. Who wants to go next? What do we got?
Hey, Dusty, it's Loretta. I had a great weekend. My husband and I had our date night last night with several friends, and all over the room, they had couples stand, and they said, how many people have been married? 0 to 5 years. And one couple was there, and they were married 62 years. So it was just an amazing opportunity for us just to get together and fellowship and have dancing and laughter. But just to see this couple, and they were doing the swing out dance, and man, they're just still in step. And it was just a blessing to see these couples.
Oh man, that's incredible. Hey team, today's call is all about service. What does defined service look like? Let me tell you something. Marriage for 60 plus years, those are 2 people who have served each other well. You know what I'm saying? Like leaned in. Man, I would love to sit down with them, Loretta, just for 5 minutes. Woo! Wisdom. Come on now. There's wisdom in that. Anybody else today?
I'm going, Dusty, good morning. I had a great listing last week. We had an open house Saturday and Sunday. We have a couple of offers already on the table, so most likely we will have an offer accepted this week. I'm very grateful for it.
Awesome. Well done, Eric. Well done. Keep leaning in. John Davison, you had your hand up, sir.
Yeah, so I had some showings yesterday with a guy that I met 9 months ago. He was referred to me, and we grabbed lunch, and he was telling me all about what he was going through in life. He's going through Alcoholics Anonymous. He's been clean for a while. His girlfriend's going through it. She had fallen off the wagon. And so I dripped on this guy for about the last 9 months, just contacting him, staying in touch with him, seeing how he's doing, walking with him through what he was going through. And just this past weekend, he circled back with me, said he wanted to go look at some houses, and I got an opportunity to take 3 agents in my coaching program with me. And when we got all done with everything, one of the agents looked at me and she said, "You stayed in touch with him for 9 months?" and he wasn't like ready to buy a house. And I said, yeah, I said, guys, this is what you need to do in
Wow.
this business. You need to walk with people, come from that place of generosity
That's
and
right.
be authentic with them. And trust me, your business will grow. It's a long game and it's a big picture, but it was really cool to have 3 agents I'm coaching there with me to experience this, with this guy and his.
Oh, it froze, John. You were going and then it froze. Did that freeze for everybody else? You froze, but John, we heard it, brother. Hey, and I want to really commend John. I get the gift and honor of walking alongside him as I get to coach him one-to-one. This guy gets up every day and serves people really, really well. Serves them really, really well. So great job, brother. Great job. 9 months walking alongside somebody. Kristen, stay back. Go for it.
I've actually got 2 things. One kind of in alignment with him. In my world, we do gifting and branding, and I had this agent of mine that just kept saying, follow up with me, follow up with me. Had 3 appointments, had to reschedule, had life happen. And a lot of times people will just kind of like give up and set that aside. And we finally helped that team get them on a great gifting program for their business for this year after about 4 or 5 follow-ups of meetings, not to mention the touches in between, probably somewhere about 15 different touches. So that was pretty cool to see and set an example that I get to share with my team today, because that just happened last week.
Yeah.
And then I had the opportunity after years of myself and this other lady trying to get coffee, talked about getting coffee, and it just finally just happened, being pulled in a direction this week where I canceled one plan to, I felt the need, God calling me to go that direction. And then 2 days later, ran into her again. And I'm really excited for the friendship that we're going to get to build, and just how God has kind of put us in each other's lives. Not once, but twice last week.
That's awesome. Well done, Kristen. Well done. Super awesome. Anybody else this morning? Anybody? Okay. Hey, I gotta tell y'all something. She's gonna be upset that I'm doing this. I'm gonna do it anyway. I got a family member on this call that I've been able to walk with for 46 years. And I won't tell you how old she is, but she had a birthday. Her name's Cousin Sherry. Okay. So we're going to do something today. I'm so excited about it. We're going to sing happy birthday, and it's going to be the most beautiful choir, Sherry, you've ever had in your life. Okay. So 104 people are about to sing happy birthday to you, Sherry. Okay. So I want y'all to come off mute. I want it to be beautiful and awful. Okay. But then you got to go back on mute. You ready? I'll lead us. Ready? Here we go. Count of 3. Sherry, happy birthday. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday
to
you.
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Happy birthday, dear Sherry. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Sherry, I know you've been saying happy birthday to you before, but probably never like that. Hey, I love you. I wouldn't be who I am without you. I love you.
Thank you, Dusty. It's been
Come
a
on.
journey for both of us. We're blessed.
Yes. Come on. Yes, we are. I love you. I love you. Hey team, let's we're going to kick it off today like we always do. We're going to take a couple minutes just for you to settle in, grab your heart, grab your mind, take a pulse on where you are, where you're starting today. Okay. So as we journal here, I just want you to be honest with where you are. Okay. Let your heart go on a piece of paper. Let your feelings go on a piece of paper. Let's start to work through, set our mind right, our heart right. You define this week. This is how it starts. Okay. As you do this, I want you to think of a few things as we go into the call today. Okay. I want you to write down a couple things today that I want you to journal around for a few minutes. Number 1, I want you to ask yourself this question. How are you serving you? How are you serving you? Okay. Second question I want you to answer as we do this is, how are you serving others? How are you serving you? And how are you serving others? Final question is, what's serving you and what's not? Just take a few minutes and journal around it. Write down the people you're thankful for like we always do. We're just going to take a couple minutes here. Here we go. How are you serving you? How are you serving the people around you? How are you showing up? To that question. Come on.
fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Ooh, oh, you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong when I think I'm weak. And you say I'm held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I'm yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe the only thing that matters now is everything you think of me. In you I find my worth, in you I find my identity. Ooh, oh, you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong when I think I'm weak. And you say I'm held when I am falling short. When I don't belong, oh, you say I'm yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. Oh, I believe. Taking all I have and now I'm laying it at your feet. You'll have every failure, God. You'll have every victory. Ooh, you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong when I think I'm weak. You say I'm held when I am falling short. When I don't belong, oh, you say I'm yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe, oh, I believe, yes, I believe what you say of me. I believe.
All right, all right, all right. Okay, anybody want to kick us off? What's something you wrote down? What's something you wrote down around how you're serving yourself, around how you're serving other people? Anything else that you put on the piece of paper today? Anybody want to kick us off? Anybody? Let's see. Define over here wrote, I greet everyone, even a stranger, with a smile, and if they walk up and end up laughing at or with me. Yeah, there you go, Define, right? Natalia Paulino, go for it. Natalia, can you hear me? I don't know if she can come off mute. Curtis, how about you go, brother? What do you got?
I said staying on platforms like this to improve myself. One thing my dad had always told me, and I'll never forget it. He said, it's kind of funny. I don't know. Some people may get offended by it, but I don't know. The best thing you can do for broke people is not be one of them. And, you know, if you continue to grow yourself, the better it can improve myself, the better I can be for you. It's like you being on that plane. You know, they tell you put your mask on first before you can save anybody else. So if I can breathe, I'm gonna make sure you can breathe.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Great way to put it, Curtis. Awesome. Rhett, how about you, buddy? What do you got?
Hey, good morning, Dusty. I wrote that I've given myself permission the way I need to, that when I need to read, and then I've got in parentheses to invest in mine and others' futures, to learn, grow, and expand, that I'm making a wise investment. I've also committed to that when I make time to write, that it is not taking away from other areas, because it is just as important, if not more important, than other areas of my business. I've also saw that I'm becoming more aware and realizing quicker that when I'm distracted and getting back on track quicker. I have a thing, if somebody will ask me about it, it's called the 2-minute rule. I'll talk to y'all about. I'm also being more and more intentional about those I love, and to make sure they know how much I love and appreciate them. I am blessed, loved, and favored. Thanks.
Come on now. Well done. Well done, brother. Hey, and I've got great gratitude for Rhett over there. This last Friday, he held a mastermind for an awesome group, and just nailed it. So Rhett, thank you, brother, for stepping in and using that gift that you have of writing and teaching and coaching to pour into other people. So I love it. Love it. Anybody else this morning? Okay. All right, we're going to dive in. Here's what we're talking about today. We're talking about what does it mean to have defined service? What does that look like? Okay, defined service in each and every single one of our lives. Here's a few things that I want us to think about when we think about service, okay? And we put them on the Facebook page, and I just asked them to you. The first thing I want you to think about is, how are you serving you? What does that look like? All right, that's the first thing we're going to talk about today. Second thing we're going to talk about is, then, how are you serving others? How are you serving people within the four walls of your home? How are you serving people that you work with? How are you serving your friends? How are you serving your community? Okay, at what level are you leaning in and unselfishly, without expecting a return? So everybody understand this. Service is, I do it without an expectation of return. That's defined service. If we have an expectation of return, that's not serving, okay? Because that has a level of self-seeking in it. You guys tracking with me on this? Okay. Third thing we're going to talk about today when we talk about service is, we're going to talk about what is serving you well and what is not serving you well. Okay. How many of you would say you got some habits today that they're serving you well? Anybody? Come on. Let me see you. You got some good ones, right? How many of you would say you have some habits today you're going to keep to yourself that are not serving you well? You're not going to post it on Facebook this morning. Hey, here's where my lack is, right? Okay. We all have those things that are holding us back, that aren't serving us well. And then the final thing we're going to talk about is, what does great service look like? What does that look like? What does great service feel like? Hey, have anybody on the call ever had some great service? Like, you've had some great customer service, some great experience. Maybe you've had some friends really step into a space for you and step into a gap for you and serve you unbelievably well, okay? I want you to remember how that felt, and I want you to ask yourself, how do we do that for ourselves? How do we do that for other people? So let's start it off. The first one is, how are you serving you? So I want you to go ahead right now and write down on a 1 to 10, 10 being the very best, at what level that you showed up on the call today are you serving you? Go ahead on a 1 to 10. And if you're like, wait a second, coach, I don't even really know what that means. Okay, then we probably shouldn't write down a 10. Okay. Here's one thing I want us to know when we talk about serving ourselves well. In fact, I think a lot of times, sometimes we serve others because we're doing it because it makes us feel good, and not that that's a bad thing, all right? But it starts with, if you want to be a great servant leader, okay, the first place it starts with is taking time to serve yourself this morning. Okay, so what does that look like for you? Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you just stopped and did something for you? Anybody? Can I tell you one thing, man? I watch my bride get up every day, and that sister just serves our family like at a crazy level. Like she just doesn't stop. All right. We got twins. Okay. We got 3 dogs. And she doesn't just serve our family, man. She serves the people that we get the gift and honor to coach and walk alongside. And like she does. And mama, like she's not out here on the front like I am, right? Mama's in her little office. Okay. Like just doing everything she can for everybody else. Are you with me? Okay, that's right. Yeah, Elle has 3 kids, not 2. We got 2 11-year-olds and then a 25-year-old, right? And so she's constantly serving. And mama, all right, we got to make sure she takes time to serve herself. Okay? Because I want you to write this down. Everybody write this down, okay? You cannot give what you do not have. I can't give what I don't have. Now I can for a season. But if I don't take time, everybody hear my heart, if you don't take time to fill your cup, all right, at some point your cup will run empty and our level of being able to pour out won't be there. So I want to ask you today, what are you doing to fill your cup? What does that look like? It's going to look different for each and every single one of you. So the first thing I want you to ask yourself today in filling your cup, okay, is what is it that stirs your soul? Like what gives you energy? Okay. So Charlie just wrote down the gym regularly. Okay. I'm not going to be good for others if I'm not in a good mental, physical, or spiritual space. How many of you agree with Charlie Skidmore over there? He nailed it, didn't he? Okay. It's not that we won't be able to serve others. It's just there's a certain level we can't get to if we ourselves have not put ourselves into the position of filling up our own cup, okay? Another way I like to call it is I call it cleaning off your own plate. You with me? Okay? Like, I think a lot of times we pride ourselves with so much stuff on our plate. All right. And I'm not saying that it's not great that you don't have things on your plate. I'm just saying, like we keep serving others from a dirty plate. You tracking with me on this? How many of you have been serving from a dirty plate? Okay. Pouring out from an empty cup. Like I got nothing left. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself today, how can you take that number of how well you're serving yourself and increase it? I want to give you a few thoughts on how you increase your level, your number on serving yourself. Here's the first one, okay? I want to encourage you on this call that every single one of you take 30 minutes to an hour a day. I'm going to say that again. 30 minutes to an hour a day for you. For you. And if you say, no, coach, you don't understand. I don't have time for that. Okay. I'm going to lovingly push back on you and say, you may have to get up earlier. Right. I get it. I get it. Hey, once my kids wake up, I've lost. It's game over. Okay. There is no, I don't get to go to my kids and go, hey, dad needs an hour. All right. Like, go be quiet. Okay. Right. Like, so that for me has got to be before everybody gets up, because once showtime starts, all right, like it's showtime, all right, I spend my days, all right, pouring into other people. That's the calling of my life. I cannot pour what I don't have in my cup. Take 30 minutes to an hour a day for you. and do something that stirs you. Do something that brings you energy. Maybe it's like Charlie and it's you got to get to the gym and that pumps your energy. Okay. Some of you wrote, Debbie Cannon wrote, she said, quiet time every day. Stop, close my eyes, be present in that moment. For me, I love to get in my office, man. I keep my lights off and I just turn on music that for me just stirs my soul. I love it. Okay. Okay. So what does it look like for you to fill your cup? Amber Honeycutt, you just made my day. Karaoke in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. All right. Like, what is it for you? All right. Natalia, I started waking up at 5:30 to have my time. There you go. You can ask my family. I play golf. That's one of my things, man. 4 hours on a golf course. Just keeps me grounded. Ernest Lasoya, Fortnite for 30 minutes. Yes. Ernest, you're speaking my bride's language. Okay. All right. So what is it for you? What is it for you? Okay. Take that time. I also want you to write this down. Go on vacation. You're welcome. Okay. Now, not vacation where you work the whole time. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking about real estate people right now. Okay. Like, come on now. That's if you go on vacation and you work the whole time, that's not vacation. That's working in a different zip code. That's what you're doing. That's all you did. You just picked up your work and you went to a zip code. I'm talking like get away, get alone. All right. Take some time, like do something that stirs your soul. Here's something else for you to write down. Take a day. Like take a day. Set your schedule where you take a day. I mean, like a day away from everything. Maybe it's a day away from everyone. You ever done that? Like just get away and fill your cup back up. Clean your plate off. All right. Let's stop trying to pour out from an empty cup and let's stop serving on a dirty plate. Tracking with me on this? All right. How are you serving you? Here's the second thing I want to bring up to you. And that is, how are we serving others? How do we serve others well? What does that look like? I'm gonna give you a few thoughts here, okay? Kathy wrote, having monthly meetups with my friends and intentionally being more vulnerable about my life and realizing that I don't have to impress others. This allows others to become more vulnerable with me. Kathy, that's brilliant. Okay? Just taking the time. Taking the time. Hey, one thing about filling yourself up before we go to the next one is get around people that do fill you up. Are you with me? Like this doesn't have to be time alone. Okay? Get around some people that fill your cup, that stir you, that get you excited. Ernest, what do you got, buddy?
Can you hear me? There we go.
We got you.
So we in real estate, we kind of realize that we love what we do. So it just becomes a part of our lifestyle. And our coach is making us take 1 day off a week, which is typically Sundays. 1 month, we take a 3-day weekend off. And once a quarter, we take 5 business days off, just so we can refresh our mind, refresh our heart, refresh our spirit, and allow us to fully just engage with the family. And that's been life-changing for us. It allows us to refresh, to fill our cup so we can help others.
That's huge. That's huge, Ernest. Well said. Well said. Well said. 1-3-7 model. Rhett, tell them what it is. What's the 1-3-7 model?
Ernest pretty much hit the nail on the head. It's one day off a week that's completely your time, regardless of your profession. 1 3-day weekend a month, and then at least 1 7-day vacation every quarter. And it doesn't mean you have to go somewhere. It's just take off work and go have your time for 7 days.
Come on. There we go. Fill your cup so you can pour it out. Well said. Well said. Okay, the second one is, how do we serve others well? What does that look like? How do we serve others well? I want you to write this down. Here's the first way you serve other people well. 2 words. Show up. Show up. That's it. Okay? You don't have to say anything profound. You don't have to bring a gift. You just show up. Okay. You let people know that they are loved and serve them well. Can I tell you one of the best ways I've seen this play out in my own personal life? A couple things. So when my dad passed away, my best friend was one of the first people to me. Okay, that day he was at lunch. He left lunch, came straight to me. And I want you to know that that dude did not leave my side for 30 straight days. Didn't leave. He showed up every single day, right? Never even asked me what I needed because I didn't know. Hey, did you know, like when people go through difficult days and trauma and tragedy that they really don't know, right? And this dude just showed up. That's it. That's it. Okay. So that's number one, show up. Forbes talks about what people are looking for when it comes to service, to customer service in 2024. I want to give you a few of those things. Here's what people are looking for. All right. Here's the first one. This is how you serve people well. The first one is that it would be personal and customized. That it would be personal and customized so that we serve people on a personal level, that we meet them where they are. You with me? Let me ask you that question today. Is that what you're doing? Are you being personal with people? Are you customizing things to people? Are we showing up in that way? All right. The second is that they want us to be conversational. Okay. Can I tell you the best way you show up for people? You talk to them. Okay. It's not just a text or an email. Like, how are you showing up? How are you being conversational with people? Picking up the phone, having a conversation with them, meeting them for coffee, whatever it is. How do you get around people and show up for them? All right. And then the third is empathy. Empathy, which is very different than sympathy. Are you with me? Okay. Sympathy is, I'm sorry that happened. Empathy is you're going to put yourself in their shoes. You're going to get on their side of the table and seek to feel and understand where they are. Empathy. We want to serve people well. We got to put ourselves in their shoes. Okay. Regardless of your industry, that will go a long way for you. Okay. One of the greatest qualities, a lot of what we talk about on this call is about leadership, right? So I want to talk to you about servant leadership, how we serve really, really well. One of the greatest qualities of a leader, is you will see their heart of sacrifice and service. It's one of the greatest qualities of a leader. Okay. Without an expectation of return, that they just love people and serve people well, give themselves up for people. I call it, one of the ways I say it is that we wring ourselves out on behalf of other people, right? Like, I view my job and my family is to wring myself out for the people in my four walls. That every day that I get up, that I make a choice to give everything that I've got to serve them at every level and wring myself out for them. I think about the people, all of you on this call, and all the people that I get the gift and honor to coach in a room or coach one-on-one or have conversations with them. My thought is, how do I wring myself out for them? How do I show up for them? How do I give everything I've got so that they can create in them everything that they are, right? What does that look like? Okay. So I want to give you some characteristics of how we do this really well, right? So this is John Maxwell, comes from right here, 24 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. All right. And here's what he talks about, what a heart of sacrifice and service looks like as a servant leader. Here's what he says. He says, number one, there is leaders. Okay. There is no success without sacrifice. Everybody write that down. There is no success without sacrifice. You go interview anybody on this planet that you see as successful. in their life, in their business, in their family. Okay. Like Loretta talked about someone who'd been married 60 plus years. Can I tell you something? That did not happen without sacrifice on both ends of that game. Okay. Okay. So the first thing is that leaders have to understand that there is no success without sacrifice. There is no success without sacrifice. It says effective leaders sacrifice much that is good in order to dedicate themselves to what is best. I'm going to say that to you again. Effective leaders sacrifice much that is good, okay, in order to dedicate themselves to what is best. Let me ask you today, are you looking for good or are you looking for best? Are you looking for good or are you looking for best? Amber, I love what you just said over there, right? She said, to others, it may appear you have given it all. However, you know you have more to give inside of you. I think that's a great pulse for you to take, right? Give up the good for the great. Very good. Okay, here's the second one. Okay. Leaders, servant leaders, are often asked to give up more than others. Servant leaders are often asked to give up more than others. Okay, everybody write this down. The heart of service is putting others ahead of yourself. The heart of service is putting others ahead of yourself. Doesn't mean that you think less of yourself. It means that you think of yourself less, right? You guys tracking with me on this? That I'm thinking, how do I help the people around me? It goes back again to Zig Ziglar, right? I help enough people get what they want. I'm always going to have what I want. How do we continue to put others ahead of ourselves? Okay. It also talks about in here that as your responsibility increases as a person, as your responsibility increases in your job, as your responsibility increases in your life, all right, that he actually talks about that you have to give up more, that you actually lose more rights as your responsibility gets higher. He says, when you have no responsibilities, you can pretty much do anything you want. Once you take on responsibility, how many of you have some responsibilities in your world? Okay. He says, once you take on responsibility, you start to experience limitations in what you can do because we're sacrificing more for others than maybe we were before. Here's the third one. Here's the third one. I love this one. It says, you must keep giving up in order to stay up. You got to keep giving up in order to stay up. Everybody write this down. Sacrifice and serving is an ongoing process, not a one-time payment. You with me? Okay, I can tell you right now, I don't think it would go well for me in my marriage if I turned to my bride and said, hey, I served you well yesterday. That's what I had. All right, girl? All right? Not today. Not today. Just yesterday, I gave you what I got. All right? One-time payment, put it in the bank. And if you need some more, it's there, right? It doesn't work that way, okay? Like we got to get up every day. This is an ongoing process inside of us of how do I serve these people in front of me well? What does that look like? Okay? Ongoing process. Here's the fourth one. The higher level of leadership, the greater the level of sacrifice. The higher the level of leadership, the higher level of sacrifice. Ask yourself in the leadership roles that you're in. And can I tell you, this is why a lot of people don't get to the highest level of leadership. I'll put it to you this way. Have any of you ever been to an auction? Anybody ever been to an auction? Okay. You know, so they put an item up front. And they go, okay, we're going to start the bidding. We're going to start it at $100. And how many people raise their hand when it's $100? Everybody, like, oh, I got 100, I got 100, I got 100, I got 100, right? And then they go, okay, 200. Okay. and some hands go down. And then it gets to 500, it gets to 1,000, are you with me? The higher the price, what happens at the auction? Less people have their hands up. It's the same in leadership and servant leadership. The higher the price, and people's hands start coming down, right? Right? Like, oh, no. I mean, I'll go to here. All right. Okay. I'm cool with here, but I ain't going to here. All right. This is what we mean by, are we settling in for good? Or are we willing to go to great? If we're going to go to great, it's going to take the sacrifice of service, okay, to make sure that we get to that point. Tracking with me on this? So, I want to give you some tangibles today, all right, of how to do this and begin to do this well, based on whatever number that you wrote down. Here's the one thing I want you to write down. I want to challenge you to do one thing a day for somebody else where you get nothing in return. Do one thing every day, okay, to serve somebody else that you have no expectation of return and you get nothing in return. Let me tell you what will happen when you do that. Your energy will go up. Because we made the choice to serve somebody else. And you'll literally feel it inside of you. Your energy level will go up. You'll grow in that moment. Do one thing a day. Okay? Here's another one. Do one big thing a month. Like something big. Something that is an area where you step out of your comfort zone and you lean in and do something big for somebody else. What would that look like? Just once a month. Those of you who run businesses or own teams, what would it look like if you guys did this together collectively as a team? Okay, you with me? Like, do one big thing. Have you guys seen how people, I've seen this happen repeatedly, where people go like as a group to lunch and everybody will bring like $100. You'll see it a lot around the holidays. And they'll put all their money together, and that's the tip that day for their waiter or waitress. Okay. And it doesn't have to be financial, right? It could be as simple as just having a real conversation with the person that comes and serves you. Okay. What does it look like for you to do one big thing a month? And then I want you to write this down. Do one huge thing a year. Do one huge thing a year of sacrificial giving, of serving at a level that takes it from good to great. Like, what's something you could do this year that's huge to serve other people? To serve other people. Let's talk about a couple more things before we jump off. The next is when we talk about the word serve, I want to ask you about your habits today. I want to ask you about your habits today. I want you to write down a few things right now that are serving you well. Habits that are serving you well. If you've been on calls with me before, you know the way that I kind of give you a picture of habits is, everybody in the room that you're in, do you have a door somewhere? Everybody got a door? Okay. Somebody tell me what holds the door up. Anybody just come off?
Hinges.
The hinges hold the door up. It's not the frame. The frame is where the door sits. Okay. The hinges are what holds the door up. And it doesn't just hold the door up. The hinges are how that door operates and moves in the manner that it was created to operate and move. Are you with me? If you remove the hinges from a door, you no longer have a door. It will no longer serve a purpose. Okay, you got a piece of wood that sits up against the wall or lays down flat on the ground. Okay, those hinges on that door are like the habits in your life. Your habits, everybody remember this, write it down. You and I don't create our futures, we create our habits. And our habits create our futures. You are where you are today because of your habits. You're not where you could be today because of your habits. What's serving you well, what's not serving you well. So I want you to write down today the habits that are serving you well, that are creating in you to operate in the manner that you desire to operate. Okay? What habits are serving you well? And then right next to that, I want you to write down, what are the habits that aren't serving you well? What are the habits that aren't serving you well? And then today, I want you to pick one thing that will be a habit that will move you forward, and pick one thing that is a habit that you need to stop. Okay? I haven't written it yet, but I am going to write a book that is entitled Sometimes You Got to Start and Sometimes You Got to Stop. Tracking with me on this? Sometimes you got to start and sometimes you got to stop. Okay? What's serving you well? What's one thing you should do? What's one thing you shouldn't do? Commit to one on each one of them. All right? And then the final part of today is this, and that is, what does great customer service look like? What does great servant look like, right? I told you about my buddy that showed up every day for 30 days. I had another guy that literally texted me every single day, okay? And he said 3 words, I love you. That's all he said. Okay? He wasn't trying to say anything profound. There was no, like, I didn't know what I needed. Every single day for a year, he just texted me the words, I love you. Can I tell you how much I looked forward to that text every day? That was something that I could count on. He just showed up well for me. Okay, you with me? All right. I want you to think about times in your life. How many of you can remember a time you had some great service in your world, where people showed up for you? I want to give you an example. If you've ever been in the room with me, you've heard this story before, but I will tell it forever. If you don't know this about the Oglesby family, we eat Chick-fil-A every Thursday night at 6:30. Okay. It's a non-negotiable on the calendar. This is what we do. I think my kids will be 32 years old and they'll still come to my house and eat Chick-fil-A on Thursday night. That's what I'm pulling for anyway. Okay. All right. So, in the middle of the pandemic, y'all remember the pandemic? You remember this? Okay. In the middle of the pandemic, they kept, Chick-fil-A kept their line open. Okay. Couldn't go inside, but you could go get food outside. So it was a Thursday night in Dallas, Texas, and it was pouring rain. If you've ever been in Dallas when it rains, okay, we don't get like this pretty rain that some of y'all get. We get like rain, okay? Like, all right, like wind, hail, all of it. It just comes all at one time. It's like a big party, okay? It's crazy town, all right? And that's the way it's raining outside. So I go to my kids and I'm like, hey guys, it's crazy town outside. We're just going to eat at home. And they imploded. They were like, no, Dad, this is Thursday night. It's non-negotiable, Chick-fil-A. So I said, if I'm going, you're going, get in the car. Let's go. I'm not doing this on my own. This is going to be a family deal. So we all piled in the car, okay? We all got in the car, drove to Chick-fil-A in the monsoon, okay? We got there, all right? And I rolled down my window and I didn't get wet. You know why? Because they have an awning up above you, taking care of us. You know what I'm saying? Customer service, all right? I placed my order. I mean, we're the only crazy people there, all right? But I placed my order. I pull around, roll down my window. They say, hello, Mr. Oglesby. Is there anything else we can do for you? I pay. They hand us the food. We start to drive off, and my bride checks the bag, okay? And I say to her, Mama, you don't need to check that bag, okay? Because Chick-fil-A doesn't mess up. And even if Chick-fil-A messes up, I believe they already know what I need before I do. Like, I think they know what's best for me. Okay. But she checks the bag and here's what happened. It happened. All right. We were missing a French fry. Just one. Okay. Now we had 4 other fries. We had plenty to go around. So I said to my family, hey guys, we'll just share. It's no big deal. If you don't have twins, just know their number one gifting is not sharing. Okay. Like, you got to have your own, you know what I'm saying? So they're like, no, Dad, we got it. So I'm like, all right. Okay. I'm going to pull right now. The reason I didn't want to get another French fries, I knew this meant that Dad was going to have to get out of the car to go get the French fry. Okay. I started to get out the car, and instead of me getting out the car, there's this little 16-year-old kid comes running out of Chick-fil-A. Okay. He's taking his jacket off as he runs, which makes no sense because we're in a monsoon. Okay. He gets up to my window, and let me tell you what he did with his jacket. He held it over me so that I didn't get wet. Are you kidding me? He's getting destroyed. Holds it over me so I don't get wet. He says, "Sir, how can I help you?" I said, "We're missing a French fry." I turn around, look at my kids like, "Do you see what this man is doing for you? Come on now." Right? So he says, "No problem, sir." Doesn't ask to see my receipt. He just runs back inside. Okay. All right. He's not gone 30 seconds. He comes running back out. And I kid you not, you can't make this up. As he's running back out, he now has the jacket over my bag of French fries while he is getting destroyed by the rain. Are you tracking with me on this? Like, that's incredible. Keeping my French fries from getting soggy. Comes up to me, takes the jacket off, puts it over me, hands me the French fries, says, "Is there anything else I can do?" I said, "No, we will no longer be selfish people tonight. Please go back inside and dry off." We start to drive away, and I want you to know that my bride checked the bag. Are you kidding me? That is every kind of wrong. All right. She checks the bag. And can anybody guess what was in that bag? I'll tell you. Not one French fry. Not two French fries. 3 French fries. Come on, Chick-fil-A. Okay. Here's my point. And here's my question. Are you giving your people in your world 1 fry service? Or are you giving them 3 fry service? Like, at what level are you showing up for the people around you? Inside your 4 walls, outside your 4 walls. The people that you are in communication with on a daily basis in whatever place that you work, in your community, in your church, in your home, with your friends. At what level are you showing up and serving people? That's my question to you today. Okay. Is this helpful today? Let's hear from some of you. How many of you on the call got something out of that? Let's hear from some of you. What's something you wrote down? What's something you learned? What do you got? What do you got? Anybody? I can do this all over again. What's something you wrote down? What's something you learned? Natalia, go for it.
All right. Am I good now?
We
Can
got
you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so starting off, I love this because what I was going to say in the beginning is how I'm serving myself is also serving others, because the past year I've been really committed to having an evening routine. Well, it started with the morning routine, which was waking up at 5:30, spending an hour meditating, yoga, whatever it is. And then I started going into an evening routine, which made my morning routine a lot easier. Yeah. Because I was getting in the mindset before I went to sleep and waking up fully refreshed, ready to go. And I've also noticed by doing that over the course of a year, I show up better for my daughter when she wakes up. I'm calmer, I'm less stressed. I'm just a whole different person.
Well done, Natalia. I love that. Did you guys hear that? Morning routine. And then back into, okay, wait a second. If I have a better night routine, my morning routine will go better, right? Anybody feel that sometimes, right? Morning routine gets a little off because that night routine got off, okay? And I love how she said that when I serve myself well, I automatically serve others well. Show up better for her daughter, right? So ask yourself that question. Love it. Love it. Cherie, go for it.
Good morning. We're going to all have derivatives of serving ourselves, I'm sure. But the thing that resonates for me is that service begins with me. So service begins with me being able to get around myself. And what I mean by that is being able to not let the ego step in the way of what I'm doing, and to always be purposeful in how I'm serving. And so that also goes into attitude. And attitude is the basis when I think of servant leadership. And that, of course, begins with good habits of training your mind in everything that you do so that you can give that 3-fry service. Because I was going for 2 in this story. To choose 3, and that's what you want is you want to keep them guessing. So that's awesome.
Right. Whole nother level. I love it. 2 more before we wrap up. Carlene, go for it.
Hey, thank you for the opportunity. You know, I love today that you said to serve others without expecting something in return. You know, as realtors, sometimes we get it a little twisted. You know, we're doing this for that, with hoping for this outcome. What if we did something that we really, really love to do anyway, and not even expect an outcome of a referral or something like that? What would our life really look like?
Right.
So for me, that's a 10x moment in my mind. Like, just erase all expectations and just do for others like you normally would. Live like it didn't matter whether you would get a referral, or it didn't matter, you know, what the outcome would be, as long as it feels good. So thank you so much for that.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, let's show up like that, right? Debbie, wrap us up. What do you got, Debbie? Oh, you're on mute, Debbie.
Okay, how's that?
There we go.
Okay, so what really stood out to me is you cannot give what you do not have. Yeah, you cannot give what you do not have. And so, as some people know my story, and I'm really giving myself permission to grieve and get counseling, and everything else has fallen into place as far as service to others. Because now, since I've been doing that, now I want to serve others in that capacity to help them through that time. And so I think that just spending time being quiet and feeling my feelings, which was really new to me. So anyway, it's just really helping me in all aspects of my life.
Well done, Debbie. Well done. We love you. Hey, team, bless you. I love you. Thank you so much. Keep showing up big. Okay. Let's go. Hey, do something today for somebody else. Don't expect anything in return. All right. Serve well. Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.